Welcome to another video review of scope mounts here on our YouTube channel. And today I'm going to talk about the Contessa quick release Picatinny rings. As you probably know, these are just the version of their standard, or I would say default Picatinny rings, made out of steel, but with a normal nut here to clamp the Picatinny rail inside of them. But the quick release mounts, they have a special lever, so that means that you're able to detach them from the rifle without any tools needed. So this is the reason why they're called quick release. It's interesting that in their catalog, Contessa also sometimes uses the SR name for them, even though because SR in this scope mounts industry usually stands for Swarovski rail. This is the reason why more and more dealers and vendors of Contessa uses QR nomination for them, because quick release is more understandable for majority of people. So these rings, they come in practically all versions for all tube diameters of all scopes. So they start with 1 inch, then 30 millimeters, 34 millimeters, 35 millimeters, 36 millimeters, and 40 millimeters. They also come in many different heights. So the 1 inch and 30 millimeter rings, they come in 4 different heights. So 8, 12, 19, and 26 millimeters. While all other dimensions, so 35, 34, 36, and 40 millimeters, they come in 2 different heights, only in 8 and 12 millimeters. The height is measured from the top of the Picatinny to the bottom of the scope. So you can see the rings which we have here are 8 millimeters high. All of these rings are also 15 millimeters wide. And the reason for it is that because they're made out of steel, they're quite heavy. So if they would be even bigger, they would be too heavy, honestly speaking. And so with 15 millimeters, they're just of the right weight, and that the weight doesn't bother the user. What is also true is that you are able to find light Picatinny rings made by Contessa, which are made out of aluminum. We also have a video for them, but they are not quick release like this. On the packaging, you also get the information on what torque you need to apply. So on the scope itself, it says 2 Newton meters. Honestly speaking, even 2.2 Newton meters will still be enough. On the clamp, which clamps the Picatinny rail, it's 5 Newton meters. Because you're applying this by hand, it's usually, you will never apply too much force, honestly speaking. I believe that even with 10 Newton meters, there still nothing will be wrong. And what's really interesting with this QR system is that you're able to change the position of the lever. So when you really tighten it to the end, if you pull the lever towards you, like this, you see, you're able to rotate it freely. So you're able to set it to a position which suits you most, so that well, basically that for aesthetical reasons. Inside of the rings themselves, you can see some grooves, and these grooves are meant for either rosin or glue or maybe even latex, if you're using the material for medical gloves. So I would say, and I would recommend that you use, let's say, rosin or glue only when you have some really hard kicking rifle. Let's say when you're using like 338 Lapua Magnum or something similar, some really strong Magnum caliber, then either glue or rosin, it's a good choice. But in all other situations, if you have 308 or something like that, you don't need to use anything special. There is no need for any additional material between the scope and the rings. I usually go through the company history and company outlook at the beginning, and in this video I forgot this a little bit, but I hope that you watched some other Contessa videos. What we can say about the Contessa itself is that the company is located in northern Italy, about 50 kilometers away from Lago di Garda, and they are known for really superb fit and finish. And these rings are no exception to this rule. You can see that all edges are rounded. There are no sharp edges on these mounts anywhere, and the amount of effort they invest into all the details really shows. I think that all other brands could learn from them, because in terms of fit and finish, they are probably among the best, if not the best, in this industry. So really, I would say a good choice. The price of these rings starts at around 150 euros and goes to 250 euros. It depends on which diameter you're choosing, because normally for, let's say, 40 millimeter rings, the price of the material is much higher than 1-inch rings, and this is the reason why the price is higher. All in all, I still think they are great value, especially when you take into the consideration their fit and finish. So if we come to the last part of this review, and this is my summary, where I go through all the sweet and sour. So what's really good, what I really like, and what could have been done better. So honestly speaking, I think that fit and finish is probably I would say the most positive thing about all Contessa mounts, and these rings are no exception. I also like the durability and robustness of them, because they're made out of steel, even though myself personally, I'm more of a fan of aluminum rings and aluminum scope mounts, but still I think that a lot of customers will appreciate their durability and robustness. I also like that they are producing, I like the fact that they are producing these rings in all possible diameters, even in 35 millimeters, which is really rare. And I also like that they're putting torque values on their boxes, even though you're able to find these torque values also on our blog. We have a special article about them. What could have been done better? First of all, I would say for 1-inch and 30 millimeters, 4 different heights is enough. But for all the others, so 34, 35, 36, and 40 millimeter rings, having only 2 heights is a little bit, I would say, sparse. So some additional options would be appreciated, especially, let's say, 8, 12, 16, something like that, that you have at least 3 different heights. This would be definitely appreciated. I also have to point out that these rings are quick release, but they are not 100% repeatable. So when you're putting the scope up and down from your Picatinny rail on your rifle, you will need to re-zero, or at least test shoot the setup again to see if the point of impact changed, because this is not a repeatable mount. It only means that you don't need any tools when you're removing the scope, but when you're reattaching it, you have to check where the point of impact moved. Normally for this price point, this is also understandable. Below 200 euros, it is hard to expect 100% repeatability. Apart from that, still, I think that they are, like majority of Contessa products, they offer good value for your money. I hope I covered everything. If I didn't, if I forgot something, please use the comments below. If you have any kind of video suggestions for us, again, use the comments below or send us an email. And if you like our videos, please subscribe.